Welcome to the Hudson Show. Coming up, how Chick-Fil-A might be bringing back child labor. Also, Caitlin Clark's revenge on Team USA. All that and more on the way next. It is the Hudson Show from RadioU. If you've been following along the looks maxing trend on TikTok, even so far as to go ahead and start trying to chew mastic gum, it may not be all it's cracked up to be. You've been sold a lie on TikTok. This is something that's really taken off because mastic chewing gum, if you chew it routinely, is supposed to build jaw muscles and improve definition in the face, making your jawline look better. However, I've got dermatologists here calling out the trend, saying basically it's all a bunch of nonsense and actually can lead to harm. If you really stick to this gum chewing thing, it could lead to overgrown masseter muscles in your face, which could lead to popping, clicking, or something called temporomandibular jaw disorder. I don't know what that is, but it's a disorder, and I don't want to have any disorders. He also says that it may not necessarily sharpen, this dermatologist says it may not necessarily sharpen the undersurface of the jawline if your bone structure isn't there. In other words, if you don't got it, you don't got it, no matter how much gum you choose. Finally, since this trend is so popular with particularly young dudes, we're talking like puberty age, this doctor also points out that if that's where you are, if you're, early teens, the closer you are to puberty, the more likely you still just have that fat volume in your face, the baby fat that just isn't going to go away. But the best thing you can do, according to this doctor here, is just stay thin and fit. And as you age, you will naturally see more definition no matter how much gum you chew. For me, my best advice is also something that doesn't particularly help 14-year-olds, but it is true. And that is, if you want to have a nice looking jawline, just grow a beard, because then your jawline doesn't matter. It's the Hudson Show. If you hop on X today, some call it Twitter, Elon Musk calls it X. What you will find if you go to anybody's profile that's not your own is that you can no longer see what they've liked. The likes tab is gone on all profiles. This was a move that was already available to those who were premium users on X, but now it's just permanent for everybody. This is the way it is. You can't see what anyone else has liked. That doesn't mean that like counts don't exist, but it does mean that you can't go on somebody else's profile and start weeding through all the stuff they've liked. For Twitter X, the reason that they say they made this change is it will encourage folks to like edgy content. And that's actually a quote from their director of engineering. Man, maybe people just weren't liking edgy content because it's stupid. Like it may, like if maybe that's why. Maybe it's not because they're afraid of getting attacked. Which who actually cares anyways? I mean, if you're not like a creepy old politician going through and like an OnlyFans model's pics, who's going through your likes? Nobody cares. I'm glad that X, though, taking this so seriously, so now we can all like whatever we want. The world of competitive eating has been rocked by the revelation that came out yesterday that Joey Chestnut is not going to be participating in the traditional July 4th Nathan's hot dog eating contest. Why? Because apparently there's some disagreement. He has a sponsorship with Impossible Foods, which now has a vegan Frankfurter. I don't know why I said Frankfurter. I guess that's because what it says in the story. They have a vegan hot dog that they are putting out, of course. And that would be a conflict of interest. The Nathan's hot dog eating contest, of course, cannot have Joey Chestnut coming in there and repping some other hot dog brand. And so instead, apparently there's been negotiations. They've tried to meet his demands, but it is just not apparently going to work out. And Joey Chestnut not going to be the Nathan's famous 4th of July hot dog eating contest. Can you believe that? That's great. He's the biggest star in the sport. That's like not letting Caitlin Clark participate in the women's USA basketball team. But I will say this, it's going to cost Joey Chestnut a lot of money. He apparently was offered a $1.2 million contract to return to do the hot dog eating contest. And because of this, a breach of contract or whatever, it's not going to work out. All that said, if they're looking for somebody to come, apparently there's an empty spot now at the contest. somebody that can eat a lot of hot dogs and somebody that would do it for a fraction of the price and would never rep freaking frankfurters? I know a guy. I heard NayNay talking about this yesterday. The new features that are coming to iOS 18 that Apple announced recently. One of them is that they are going to allow users starting this fall when the update rolls out to lock and hide apps on their iPhone's home screen. They say this should be great if you're the type of person that maybe wants to keep your banking apps private, or maybe you have kids and you want to make sure they don't accidentally buy stuff on Amazon, or if you are in a relationship but you're also cheating on them. There's so many great uses for this. It is feels a little sketchy, doesn't it? If you grew up being afraid of quicksand and then you reached adulthood, some point in your life you realize quicksand is nothing to worry about. It doesn't really come up too often as a grown-up as much as it does in cartoons. Think again in a story that completely disproves a John Mulaney comedy routine. A woman in Maine was swallowed up by a quicksand hole that was on a beach in Maine. Now, fortunately, she was able to escape with minor injuries, but she says she was just walking along the beach and suddenly fell down to her waist. It just, the ground collapsed around her pretty much. Fortunately, she was walking with somebody, her husband, that was able to pull her up out of there. And again, getting pulled up out caused a few injuries, but she was able to make it out okay. But if you thought quicksand was nothing to worry about, apparently that's not the case. Unfortunately, if you're like me, you watch plenty of cartoons as a child that prepared you for that moment. You got to reach for a vine or have somebody else. And the most important thing, of course, we all remember this, right? From the kids shows, don't struggle, don't move around, or you're done for. You think quicker that way. Nikki is here with me. I just woke Nikki up by sending her a story. Nikki, can you open up that link I just sent you?
I'm blind. It's awful. Why would you send that to me? It's people's butts.
Well, don't you think this is, I feel like you might feel like this is good news. The headline is, nudists worry as interest in naked public displays plummets. I think that sounds like a positive thing. I thought you'd be happy to know about it.
First off, it's all worrisome when you have an article like this, but this goes back years ago when the show found itself on a nudist email list, for publicity sort of stuff. Yeah. And let me tell you, the shame on these emails were just awful.
Yeah, I'm looking at I've never had this before, but I saw the headline and I clicked on the story, and I've never had this before, but at RadioU, it said, this website is blocked. They said, I use this website all the time, but because it has such explicit pictures, I guess, of this nudity, RadioU doesn't let us look at it, but I found a workaround.
We have talked about this before, though. When you read about nudist stuff, and that's people that, are the beaches, or there's nudist camps or nudist hotels. Mm-hmm. It's not usually people that are and I'm also a model. Right. It's just everyday people. Everyday people.
And they're not typically, I don't know, there's some age I feel that you
they're hit. Older.
There's no nudists under the age of 40, but once you hit 40, you're like, all right, maybe. And then that's when you pick it up.
No, okay, Hudson, remind me, when we're done talking about this, let's play a song, and I got to tell you what I saw when we come back after this, because old people reminded me of it, okay?
Oh, okay. All right, well, put a pin in that.
Okay, put a pin in it.
Let's briefly mention that the nudity is going down, some of the organizations where nudists, you have to sign up to be a nudist, I guess. They're seeing their numbers, their membership decrease. And they're blaming it on TikTok. They say the rise of the cult of the perfect body is making people too self-conscious to be nude.
No, I think you can blame COVID because we really let everybody go. And I think
then maybe people realize you can just be nude around the house whenever you want. You don't have to join a membership to do that.
Yeah, no one has any extra money for this stuff, but this is coming from the German Association.
They can't pay their dues, their membership.
They can't. They can't.
I can't afford to pay to be naked in this economy.
Who can?
Yeah.
For Free Body Culture said that, people are just losing interest, which I didn't think anybody had any, but apparently from that, no one wants to be nudist anymore. So their memberships dropped from 65,000 25 years ago to now less than 34,000.
Yeah, it's on its way out. There may be a day where we just have no more nudists anymore. In fact, we have more never nudes.
I'm a never nude. You're like, instead, I want a membership of a place where I want layers.
Yeah.
I want a cardigan. I want a shirt. I want an undershirt. I want a hoodie. I want all of that.
I want a membership to Old Navy.
Yeah.
We're back with Nikki. We were just talking about nudists and how their membership numbers, the interest in being publicly nude has gone down. And for some reason, this reminded Nikki of something that happened to her. Is that right, Nikki?
Well, I was driving. No, I don't want you to go that way with your mind. I want you to go back the other way.
Okay.
And I wanted to tell you that I saw something yesterday. And being in Florida, it's a thing. And if you don't want to learn too much about it, but I think everybody kind of has an understanding of what they mean, but maybe not the different colors. But I drove past a minivan yesterday.
Okay.
And guess what was on the top of the minivan?
Rudolph
Think Florida,
ears.
think old people. Weird stuff, like things you'd be ashamed of your grandparents.
Oh, man. I don't.
Like if you found out your grandparents were nudists, this is one step from that.
I don't
They
know.
had-
I was thinking, no, wait, hold on. My guess is, I learned this a while ago. I think it's
You're
true.
gonna get it.
Is it an upside down pineapple that means they're swingers?
No, but it's along those lines. Okay, they had a loofah on their car.
What does that mean? Is that
Look it up.
Is there a significance to that? What?
Yes,
everybody
it's
can't
along
look
the
it up
same
right
lines.
now.
Yes, you should.
We all know, some of us are driving ourselves. We don't know.
A loofah means different things for, okay, when there's an old person and an old person, and maybe they love each other, but like other old people and like different things, and they're up for different things. They put these loofahs on their car.
Oh, no. Why am I looking this up? It's saying that like different colors of loofahs
Mean things.
I didn't
And
know that.
Yes, absolutely. And it was on top of their minivan. You know how there's like racks on the top of those cars,
Yeah.
like for like, luggage and stuff.
right,
it was
right.
tied to the top, and it was a yellow one.
Oh my gosh. What kind
And
of
I
like,
drove past the person. I was like, you have a loofah on your car.
Oh my!
Much.
I wonder with things like this, like what kind of response do you get? Like how many encounters have they? Really
Well, okay,
found
are we
themselves
thinking
in
like
since they're
negative
like, this is,
responses or like found a special someone? I don't know, but it was so weird. And then there was other people in the car and they're like, what's that? It's like, oh, let's just keep driving.
I don't want to explain except later to a radio audience.
I know. So I just want to let you guys know that, that was so shocking. I was like, is that really a loofah? And then I remembered, oh yeah, old people in Florida. That's what it means.
Man, that is one part of Florida that I had no idea about, and now I will know the next time I'm there, and I'll be keeping my eyes open, but not in like.
No, you're not in that way. But I didn't know
okay.
if like other states have the loofah thing. I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't necessarily think it's just a Florida thing. I think it's just a hot weather thing.
It looks, yeah, I think, Google is teaching me a lot about this as I just continue to scroll. It's not just a Florida thing, so at least you're not
Are you in
alone.
a private browser?
Yet again, this for some reason not blocked on the RadioU.
Are you incognito?
I feel like I should be.
You should be, Chris. Chris, if you're listening and anything pings and there's a problem,
Yeah.
I was just telling Hudson about the loofah. That was it.
I think I'm about to be suspended is what it sounds like.
I know you need to go have a meeting.
You're still reeling from the news earlier this week that Joey Chestnut will not be participating in the Nathan's hot dog eating contest on July 4th. I've got some good news for you. It has just been conveniently announced right after that news that Joey Chestnut will be taking place in a hot dog eating contest against none other than his fellow competitive eating legend, Takeru Kobayashi, who used to be the king of competitive eating before Joey Chestnut showed up on the scene. In what equates to the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson battle for Netflix, Joey Chestnut and Takeru Kobayashi are going to be dueling it out on Labor Day live on Netflix in a hot dog eating competition. Now, July 4th just still won't be the same without seeing Joey Chestnut, Wolf and Glizzy's on your screen, but at least if you can hold out till the very tail end of summer, you get to see Joey Chestnut take on Takeru Kobayashi as he comes out of retirement for this one. It's going to be wild. A Chick-Fil-A in Louisiana is catching some heat after it announced its summer camp for kids that's coming up next month. For the price of just $35 per session, you could, if you're a 5 to 12-year-old, have a summer camp at Chick-Fil-A where you would learn things like how to be a dining room host, customer service skills, how to take an order, how to bag an order. You'd also get to tour the kitchen. And some people are saying that's, it kind of sounds like child labor. I don't know. To me, I don't think it sounds that bad. And it definitely sounds much better than Burger King summer camp, where for the same price, you learn to look at your phone and tell customers to screw off. Just days after being snubbed from the USA Olympic women's basketball team, Caitlin Clark might be able to get her revenge. Apparently, if she makes the WNBA All-Star team this year, which does include a fan vote, so that means that feels like it's likely, right? She's got to make the All-Star team. It's not the All-Star team isn't the best players, it's the stars. And she's clearly the biggest star in the WNBA. If she makes the WNBA All-Star team, she will get a chance to play a tune-up game, what will be a tune-up game for the USA Women's Olympic basketball team. They will play against each other. And so she will have a chance to get a revenge and show that maybe she should have been on the very Olympic team. I'll tell you what, I've started to come around on Caitlin Clark as far as making the Olympic team, not from a player perspective. I still think it's totally justifiable for her to be left off the team. Is she one of the 12 best American women basketball players right now? It's arguable, but it's not clear. But from a business perspective, it's malpractice. If there was like stock in the WNBA and women's basketball, if you are a stockholder, you'd be so upset because listen to this. Even with Caitlin Clark joining in the WNBA this season, the WNBA still expected to face a $50 million loss. How much money were they losing before she showed up? You got to get her everywhere, and that includes the Olympic basketball team. You really think that she'd be such a downgrade from Diana Taurasi, who's like 45 years old, that's going to cost you a gold medal in exchange? Grow the game, better for business. I don't understand it. How do you think you do face to face with a camel? I don't know if you've seen the video going around TikTok over the past week of a couple of camels that escaped at Cedar Point Amusement Park in Sandusky, Ohio. They got out of their pen, started running around. People were panicking. And to me, I don't know. I think I get face to face with a camel. I understand why people are intimidated. One, those legs, man, they kick you and you could be done for. You'll lose a few teeth, to say the least. Also, a lot of people notice about camels, they spit. I don't want to get spit on by anything, animal, human, anything. So both of those things are a mark against camels. But I don't think if I was at Cedar Point, I would be panicking because I just think the camel probably have other priorities. It's getting out of its pen. Why would its number one thing be, let me go attack Hudson? Its number one thing would probably be, got to ride the Top Thrill Dragster if it's open. Would you ever wear a cologne that smells like Pepsi and grilling? Because Bobby Flay, the famous chef, has teamed up with Pepsi for what is called Smoked, a grilling-inspired cologne. It's the world's first ever cologne, and it's designed to evoke the scent combination of Pepsi and the flame-fired grill. Anytime you can smell like something grilled, I think that's a positive. But I have a new theory. So chat, let me know what you think about this at 8772 RadioU. That I think that possibly the most important thing you can do for your smell, cologne/perfume is important, but possibly even more so is your hand soap. I honestly think you want to up your game where people are going to notice you smell good. Have like a really good hand soap you use, and because you're reapplying that throughout the day, take it to work, take it with you throughout, and you're going to smell different from everybody else. They're going to be able to smell you, and I actually think that's a theory I'm working on, that hand soap could be the key to smelling good. If you want the Cola-Own, it's available this weekend at a few select Walmarts. I've asked NayNay to join me. Good morning, NayNay.
Good morning.
Welcome to the studio. It's a little early for you, I know, but maybe some candy will help wake you up.
Maybe it will. Honestly, guys, I'm not feeling the best right now. I'm feeling a little under the weather. It's kind of been a over-looming thing throughout the entire week. But the show must go on.
Must go
as they always say. So we are here.
All right. I'm not going to tell you exactly what this is, but it is a new type of candy. So maybe that'll be just what you need to get you going.
Maybe
today.
candy is exactly what I need.
Yeah.
So what am I looking at? What is this thing?
I can't tell you what it is until you taste it. So why don't you just go ahead and try it?
It looks like a red stick with white stuff in the middle. Here we go.
It's cherry. I guess that spoils it for you, but it's definitely cherry. It's kind of like a Twizzler. It's pretty good. Yeah.
I feel very joyful tasting this.
All right. I'll just tell. No, wait. Try the other one first. Or also, this one I'm really particularly excited
like
for.
The sour straws that you used to get.
It's a little dusty. It's got sugar falling off or whatever this coating is everywhere.
You sure it's not a sour straw?
It's not a sour straw. You know what these are?
What?
These are Joyride.
Is that Ryan Trahan's candy?
Oh, yeah. You know Ryan Trahan?
Yeah, I watch his videos.
He's one of my favorite YouTube channels to follow. He's got Joyride. It's his new, it's his candy he's been selling for a while, but now the reason I got it is because you can now get it at Target.
Oh, wow. That's so cool.
Yeah. So not bad. You know what? First of all, do you actually think that picture of him on the package looks like him?
Wow. I didn't even notice he was on the package because it got ripped off.
He's only, his head's right at the top. It's only purple and white, but I don't think it's a very, since I know it's him, I can tell, but it's not the best.
People are going to be buying this anyways.
That's right. And actually, it's good. It's pretty solid.
Oh, yeah. I actually enjoyed it. It was good.
What if I told you, NayNay, that this is plant-based candy?
You're telling me they put a plant in that?
It's plant-based, which make me ask a question that I've never pondered before, and that is, what is other candy based on? If not
meat.
Plant,
horse based.
Yeah, right. What are we using to make other candy? I don't even know.
Hershey's chocolate has horsetail in it. I just thought I'd let you know.
Yeah. It's got a little bit of an aftertaste, but it is good. And you know me, so we tried two flavors. One was the cherry berry ropes, which I would consider they're very similar to Twizzlers, right?
Can you pass back the blue ones, please?
Yeah.
Sweet, thank you.
And then that blue one is sour blue raspberry something.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I know what this one is.
It is. It actually, you know me, I am very particular. I like sour stuff, and I want it to actually be sour, and that is it's reasonably sour.
Well, the good news is, Hudson, is you didn't need these to be sour.
In the world of college athletics, numbers mean nothing anymore. The Big 10 has 14 members. The Big 12 has 16. The Pac-12 has 2, I think, if it still exists. So it might be good news that the Big 12 is considering a rebrand. But they're not going to rebrand it with the current accurate amount of teams, colleges, programs that are in the conference. That would be folly. They can't call it the Big 16 because what would happen? Either they expand, they get more, or some of their member institutions bolt for the SEC or Big 10, and all of a sudden your name is just as useless as it was when it was the Big 12 with 16 members. Instead, though, the Big 12 considering something much, much worse. The Big 12 is working on a naming rights deal with Allstate worth possibly over $50 million a year. And resulting in possibly the Big 12 changing its name to either the Big All-State Conference, this is the worst thing I've ever heard, or the almost equally horrible All-State 12, which sucks and isn't the right number of teams. Get your popcorn ready. It's time for our weekend tradition, the Weekend Watch List, letting you know what's new that you could be watching in theaters and at home this weekend. A good weekend for the kids at the movies, because it is release weekend for Inside Out 2, Pixar's highly anticipated follow-up to the wildly successful Inside Out. Joy, sadness, anger, fear, and disgust have been running a successful operation by all accounts. However, when anxiety shows up, they aren't sure how to feel. The critics give this one a 92% on Rotten Tomatoes, but I think this is a time where it's important to note that the critics, like 92% just means 92% think it's good versus bad, and not that it's like a 9 out of 10 movie. Although David Sims of The Atlantic says, I got enough laughs out of the new emotions to essentially enjoy Inside Out 2. But although it's often charming and relatable, it's a letdown when you consider the heights such a project could reach. Yeah, Pixar may be a victim similar to Marvel of their own expectations that they've set. People love Pixar so much that some of their recent films seem to have flopped a little bit because they just weren't quite as good as some of what they've done in the past. All that said, I think Inside Out 2, I think it's the movie of the summer. I think when we look back, it will be number one in the summer box office. So there's that for you. Or on Netflix, I've never heard of this until just now. It's called Ultraman Rising. When Tokyo is threatened by giant monsters, an all-star athlete reluctantly returns home to take on the mantle of Ultraman and become a legendary hero. I watched the trailer. This is another animated movie for children. It has 76% on Rotten Tomatoes, although this review from Amy Nicholson of the New York Times is not very kind. If Ultraman wants to conquer the world, he'll have to try something livelier than a cartoon that looks like a kid's movie, but lurches about like a saccharine family drama. All right, Amy, take it easy on Ultraman Rising. I watched the trailer. It looks like it could be fun, especially for children. Other movies that are out this weekend, Monkey Man. You remember the action movie that kind of looks like John Wick, but it stars Dev Patel. That's now on Peacock. Remembering Gene Wilder, if you like Willy Wonka from back in the day, that's a new doc on Netflix, and a new doc on Hulu called Bratz, which is not about dolls, but about the Brat Pack from the 80s. Let me know what you watched this weekend at 8772 Radio U. We'll see you at the movies. We call this Fired or Hired. If you ever have any workplace dilemma that you run into, you want some advice, 8772 Radio U, which is also the number you can use to chime in on today's dilemma. This one, not less of a fired or hired and more of a quit or stay type situation. We have a gal who says, I work for a very small company. There are only 4 of us that work in the office and everyone else is out in the field. The 4 of us in the office are all women. I'm in my 20s. The other 3 ladies are in their 50s and 60s. I'm always excluded from everything. I catch them whispering about things at the coffee pot. They order lunch in without asking if I would like anything, so I end up having to go fish for my own lunch. They sit in the conference room and chit-chat and eat while I sit in my office 2 rooms away. They hang out after hours for happy hour or dinner. I never really did anything to make them dislike me, and whatever they need or whenever they need me or I need them, they're very nice to me. I've tried so many times to make a connection and chit-chat, but each of them have walls up and the conversation ends right at the start. I don't know if it's because of the age gap, but I've just never been included, and it really hurts my feelings that I don't get any of the "how was your weekend?" and "I love your outfit" conversations. I really love my job, but the loneliness makes me not want to be here. I've been working here for 6 months now, and there are no work from home opportunities for someone like me. What should I do? 8772 Radio U. Someone feeling isolated at the office. She's in her 20s. All the other ladies are in their 50s and 60s. What do you do? We'll start with Emily, who says, have you tried inviting them out or maybe bringing in donuts one morning? Also, what about if you suggest ordering lunch before any of them do and try to jump on top of the ball that way? That's one tactic you could take. Try to, again, foster a connection yourself. But then we've heard from Danielle, who says, be grateful that they leave you alone because the friendship you seek, it's not going to exist. You say there's no remote work option for you, but if you think about it, your setup is basically remote work. You've got a lot of privacy, and it sounds like they leave you alone unless you go and interact with them. So you're essentially working from home. You said you love your job. I think Danielle is on the right track there. Susanna says, was in a similar situation a while ago and can assure this woman that my method of being swallowed up in a downward spiral of self-pity did not work. That's good advice. Don't get down on yourself. It's really... from everything we know here, there's no reason to think that you did anything wrong. I don't think you did anything wrong. So why are you beating yourself up over it? But I do like this. This is probably the best thing I see here. It's from Ben, who says, if you flipped it to any age younger than you, you'd likely do the same thing. Like when he says, when I used to work in an office, I really only hung out with the people that were close to me in age, like early 20s, and didn't really engage with the older folks, 40 plus, just because we don't have much in common. I mean, you think about it, you're in your 20s, they're in their 50s and 60s. You're the age of probably their kids. I've experienced this too. What am I going to do? Like, yeah, it's not that I don't want to be nice or friends with some of the older folks that I've worked with, but what am I going to ask about their kids? That's really weird. But that's what they talk about. Unless you're, unless you have a connection with sports or something like to me, that's what dudes usually across age ranges can connect with. But other than that, you're just not going to have much in common. Don't be asking to make friends with these people. Like, don't force it. Just don't force it. It's probably not going to work out. It's not your fault. You're just way different people. Also, you think about it too. You've worked there for 6 months. They've worked there. They're in their 50s or 60s. Who knows how many years they've worked together? They've built relationships over a long period of time. Your best bet is to go seek friendship elsewhere. Go out to lunch. See what happens when you go out and eat lunch alone. Go do what I do. Go on workday walks at some point. Just see what's around the neighborhood instead of sitting there and being lonely. Thanks for listening to The Hudson Show. Please don't forget to rate and review the podcast.